It's not when I get money, I get to perform this way. It's when I'm performing in this way, when I create this experience for people, then the money comes in. Need coffee. What's cracking, everybody? It's Jack Dawkins here, and I am back to share my 2022 goals with you. I did a video detailing 2021, the big lessons that I learned, my biggest victories, who you ask, to whom you ask, holy shit, that's not a sentence. Who you ask for support. There we go. I woke up at 3:15 this morning. It's like not even 6 a.m. yet, and we're out here. We're doing it, so let's go. Today I want to talk about my 2022 goals, and I think what's important is to remember that a year is a long time. We all lived through 2020, that shit was long. And it's all in context of much larger, much bigger goals about where I want to be further in the future. And so what you're seeing as 1 year goals is really like little derivations or chopped up pieces of those bigger goals and figuring out how to do them. So some of these may sound not at all sexy or interesting or ambitious, but it's because they are framed in this light of, I actually want to be way over here. My goals are probably different than a lot of other people's. It would be disingenuous to say that I don't want money or success. I do. But pulling from the lessons of, I'm actually way more interested in doing what I love to do and doing it in a capacity where I have resources and support and a team and freedom and all these things, like that's way, way more exciting to me. And I think that success and money or wealth or however you want to define it are a byproduct of that first piece versus the other way around. It's not when I get money, I get to perform this way. It's when I'm performing in this way, when I create this experience for people, then the money comes in. My goals all revolve around, that's the alarm for when I am supposed to be waking up. 1 second. Let's keep going. So for me, all of my goals revolve around live performance. That's what I ultimately want to do. That's what I get excited about. But there's really two facets of that. One is focused on me as a performer. So how do I get on more stages? How do I get better? How do I get a deeper catalog of songs? If you didn't know this, I actually used to do storytelling shows and spoken word poetry. So those are two other forms of art that I can deploy. So how do I incorporate those into a show? So it's not a traditional like 12 song set list, but I'm actually weaving like a narrative arc or using poetry as a way to shift the energy. I think there's a lot of cool stuff I can do that I haven't experimented with at all, really. The one open mic I went to this year, the way I performed it was that I opened with a poem called 2021. I used it as a way to set up that my 2021 was all about growth and getting into music. So the poem set the tone. The next song I did was the first song that I released. And then the second song that I did was a song about some of the emotion of getting into a new space. So the songs were obviously like the meat of the performance, but because I wove this arc, there was more engagement. A lot of people came up to me after that quick open mic performance just to tell me they enjoyed it, that they were excited for me, they were curious, they had questions, and like that's really, really what I want to do. That's one half, the performative piece about how do I develop a set or a show that is storytelling and poetry and rapping and all these different things. The other piece, which is more like my logic, MBA, entrepreneurial brain, is like, what is the experience of live performance for other people? And this comes from my background in restaurants, where you learn like your experience at a restaurant is not like the plate of chicken in front of you. It's what does the website look like when you log onto it the first time? How do you display your menu online? What's the experience like of making a reservation? How is that reservation confirmed? What does the building look like outside? What do you hear? What do you see? What do you smell when you first walk in the door? Like there's so much buildup. Then there's the actual meal, which has like its infinite number of components. And then there's the exit, which is like, how do you remember that meal? What reminds you of that meal? What happens after? And each of those touch points is an opportunity to connect more deeply, to create a memory. And hopefully, you know, we're in the practice of building a fandom of making people excited about what we do, what I do. I don't know who the fuck we is. And so I want to dig into, how do I make each element of that better. I want to be on stages. I want to do the coolest shit ever. And part of me goes where I think a lot of artists go, which is like, I want stadiums, I want arenas, I want these big, big, big shows. Another part of me is like, man, like if you only have 200 seats, the individualization, the connection you can make with 200 people is so special. And if you want to think about crafting that experience from before start to after finish, that's way more achievable with 200 people. And I get crazy excited about, you know, what does like a little off-Broadway thing look like? Or what about a tour that goes to smaller theaters that aren't about kind of just trying to get into the biggest spaces possible? Again, all of that, it gives me energy. I hope that's coming across through the camera. So the question is, how do you get there? What I think is hilarious is that this is when so many people, myself, if not included, like literally leading the charge, get bogged down. Because I try to figure out, like, there's such a gap between where I am and where I want to be, and that gap seems so insurmountable. I have to remember to break it down into like smaller, more digestible, more reasonable pieces. And so again, before I can make the whole experience of going to a show awesome, I have to perform shows. Period. And that's not always going to be on my terms at first, because I gotta beg, borrow, and steal to get stage time. I'm going to acknowledge that I don't know if stage time is about to go away again for a short period of time. It makes me sad, and it's a reality. It might happen. So there will be pivots available if that is what we need to do. But in this moment, I'm going to believe that there will be live shows in 2022. But so before I can create the experience, I have to be in a show. So to be in a show, I have to get on stage. So how do I get on stage? Open mics, being an opener, doing little things that other people may not necessarily want to do, which frankly is completely okay. They don't have to do that. They don't have to wanna go. First big goal I have for 2022 is to get on 50 stages. Let me reframe that. I want to get on stage 50 different times. If I could get on stage 50 different stages, dope, awesome. But what I really want to do is be on stage at least 50 times, an approximate average of once a week. I know there are 52 weeks in a year. I get it. I prefer clean round numbers because I'm a lunatic and I'm not sorry about it. So 50 is the number that I am going with. Within that, would I like that to be among 10, 15, 20, 25 stages? Yeah, I'd actually love for it to be a split. I would love to have an open mic or a performance where I'm a regular, where I'm doing something consistently and where the crowd starts to get to know me and where I can play a little bit more because there's already an assumed trust. And I would love to go into places that are not in Boulder, not in Denver, not in this little area. And so maybe I perform in New York or California or who knows, wherever I end up traveling throughout this year, and taking your reps at being a complete unknown when you step onto a stage and figuring out how do you engage, how do you grab an audience in a way that pulls them into the tractor beam of what you're trying to do. I may one day have pieces that are like anthems. Is anthemic a word? I think it should be, because I feel like it'd be a great word. I don't yet have any anthemic songs in my library that would like bring the house down, that are meant to be screamed at the top of your lungs. My stuff is all like, it's more intimate, it's more about connecting. So in these smaller venues, like I want to tractor beam people into that intimate feeling, into that connection, so that they actually feel something when I'm performing. In order to do that, I have to practice. I have like a 1B aspiration around busking, because as indifferent as an open mic crowd could be, it has nothing on the indifference of pedestrians and people walking by you on a street. And getting used to two things. One is performing your heart out and having literally no one care, I think is valuable. It's a little masochistic, but it is valuable. But the other is like the game of like, all right, I am in the middle of this busy thoroughfare. How do I draw a crowd? How do I create an audience from nothing? How do I engage people in what I'm trying to do here? And again, like slightly masochistic, but I think a very valuable practice that will not only be applicable in the context of busking, but also in the context of open mics and stages and performances, and learning how to draw in that energy, how to focus that energy. I have found that normally the most creative discovery comes from boredom, which I know doesn't immediately make sense, so let me explain. When I have done something so many times that I get bored of it, that's when I start to be creative and iterate, like, how can I make this more interesting and more engaging? It's true with social media, it's true with songwriting, it's true with so many different things. And so the way I'm looking at live performances this year is that I want to do it so many times that I am pushing myself to be like, I don't want to just go do the same songs. I don't want to just go back to that open mic. I need to force myself to find that novelty, that newness. And if I can get there, that is a huge step into developing a show that is unique and specific and individual to me, which I think would be dope. Perform on stage 50 times. The sound of be on 50 stages sounds so much cooler. The second goal is about reaching and gaining acceptance in little circles, which I'll explain. I'm setting a goal that is based on the external validation of somebody else. That flies in the face of everybody who ever talks about SMART goals. But there are 3 different things that I want to take part in that like require acceptance in an application that to me would be indicative that I have done the work to develop a live performance habit in a way that is good and important and necessary. They are, in no particular order, an organization called So Far Sounds, which basically does like guerrilla concerts. They'll pop up in, I think they did a honey store in Boulder not too long ago. They'll go to churches, they'll go to restaurants, and they do these really small, intimate concerts. And the beauty is that as the artist, you bring your set, they do the marketing to bring in the crowd. It's this really unique kind of one-of-one experience, and you get to perform your music. To do that, you have to be able to submit a packet that includes live performance footage. They say you can do it in your apartment, so I could do that, but to me, I would rather have the reps of performing live on stages, recording that, and then sharing it with them. So I want to submit that application, I want to be accepted, by So Far, and I want to perform one of those concerts this year. The second is in an organization, the name of which is slipping my mind, but I will find it for the show notes later. And they are doing a program that is diplomacy through hip hop. So they send a group of American citizens who have an interest in any of the aspects of hip hop. So some beatboxing, some breakdancing, some graffiti and mural art, and then some lyricism or emceeing. And you will go as an envoy to a different country and introduce these elements of culture to these different people. To me, that feels aligned, that feels exciting. I would love to be a part of a community that is like that. That is an application that is due, I want to say, end of March, and then you would leave or travel sometime between fall of 2022 and spring of 2023. Again, like that's an organization that I think is fascinating, that is well organized, that has this amazing mission. It's a way for me to take these skill sets that I'm learning and applying and use it in a way that's awesome, that's just rad. The third one is like my golden goose. There's an artist in residence program in Sisters, Oregon, which is, gosh, it's like 40 minutes outside of Bend, which is like 2.5 hours outside of Portland. So like rather remote Oregon. But it's basically this collection of little cabins and a restaurant that's on this lake nestled in the mountains. This artist in residence program allows you to go there for 2 weeks. They pay for you to stay there. And at the end of it, you do a live performance. And so as I think about, again, where I want to be, the opportunity to be that artist in residence, to have that experience, and then to end it with a performance, which is really like the crux of what I'm trying to build and create, feels so aligned. I know I'm using that word a lot, and again, it's because it's like, it's easy to be aligned when you have the distant star you're reaching for and you're taking those marching steps to get there. That's there's such a clear linear path there, which is awesome. So my third and final goal, the desire to collaborate. You know, I mentioned live performance is really at the core of what I'm doing, and another massive pillar assuredly is community. And community, I think, it really exists in 2 shapes. There is the community within artists of people that I work with, collaborate with, et cetera, and then there's a community of fans. It's not like I need or want them to be separate. I just think the relationship you end up forming within each group is slightly different. And so, yes, I want to develop a relationship with fans. And what's awesome is that 2021 was so much about planting those seeds and figuring out those systems and putting the structures in place to allow that fan base to grow and for me to interact with that fan base. And it would be completely wrong to say that that is on autopilot, because it takes work and I work at it every single day. But in terms of like needing to figure out or rework or change a lot of things. I don't think that's necessary right now. I think I'm doing the things that are helping to build and engage that fan base, which like is everything from engaging in social media, putting out new music, creating this kind of content, putting more of my humanity out into the universe. Like that's all happening. It will continue to happen, and that will all help contribute to the fan base. What hasn't been happening is any meaningful interaction with other people in the community. And a part of that is my own like allergy to digital networking. I get it, it's 2021, and like I just find that those relationships are so difficult to get goodness from. It's really hard to work creatively with someone that you've never met before. Possible, but challenging. So my goal this year is to collaborate with 10 other artists. I think what's awesome is that I am going to define that broadly. So for sure, I hope that I can feature on someone's song, that I can have a song with a feature from somebody else. There's a sneak preview song that should be coming out early 2022 where I actually have a true vocalist and dear friend, Red, who is collaborating on a song with me that I'm really excited to share with you. But beyond that, you know, it's like maybe it's with a choreographer or dancer for a music video. Maybe it's for a mural artist that is related to a song that I create. It could be with a director who's going to help me kind of frame and build out this show that is not just kind of a set like a concert, but again is this kind of woven narrative arc through these different pieces of performance. There's many options for me, which is awesome, but by putting a number on it, by putting the structure of a year on it, I want that to be a larger focus so that it's me making more of an effort to get out of this delightful apartment and interact with more people, engage with more people, learn from more people, support more people with what I'm doing, and help this start to grow so that it is larger than myself. It's already there. I have supportive people. I have fans. I'm so grateful for all of that. And I know it can get so much bigger and it can become so much more than what it is. And that's what I get really, really excited about. 50 performances, those 3 organizations that I want to reach out to, and you know, technically the goal should be just to apply, but fuck that, I'm a competitive person. Like the goal is to get into each of those 3 organizations, and if I fail, I fail. And that's okay. It won't be the first or the last time that I do not reach a goal. But it's important to me to take the shot and to put it into the universe that I'm taking that shot. I'm not gonna say like, oh, if it happens, it happens. Like, no, I want it. I want it. And then the third one is collaborating with 10 different artists, hopefully in many different disciplines, and understanding how all of this art can interact in a really, hopefully, beautiful way. So that's 2022. Like a little sneak preview for you, if you want, a pit stop on the way to all of these big audacious performance goals I have is a tour this summer of 2023. So not this coming year, but the following. And I wanted to do 10 cities, around 100 seats a venue. I want to do it on the West Coast, and I want to bring my daughter. Now my daughter is about to turn 4, so she'll be 5 years old when this happens. And a huge motivation for the tour is assuredly tying into these goals, pushing myself to accomplish and grow and move forward and be successful. But another huge part of it is creating the opportunity for her at a young age to see and experience like a creative endeavor, a creative career, a creative life. Obviously, I hope that there is way more after that she gets to see. When I think about the opportunity I have to help her form memories, and knowing that one of the memories I can afford her, that I can give to her, is the opportunity to be on stage and see people singing together, and to be on a tour bus and see what that's like, and to just have like that experience that is so visceral and so unique. Man, that means a lot to me. It means a lot. So everything I do this year, truly, is really about putting myself in a position where I can do what I need to do to line up 10 venues in 2023 and go on this tour and bring Saxon and have her be a part of that. Man, what an amazing thing. Fingers crossed. That's what 2022 and 2023 will bring. For now, it's 6 a.m. I have so much time. I don't know what I'm gonna do with my day. I hope that you have a beautiful day. I hope that whatever form of goal setting or aspiration you set for 2022 feels good to you. If you love doing it, awesome. If you don't love doing it, fucking fantastic. Whatever you need to do to put a bow on 2021 and come into 2022 feeling alive and connected and excited, I hope that you go do that. Please, please, please do me a huge favor. Subscribe to this channel, like this video, put on notifications so you see when more videos come out. As promised, there will be more content, there will be more videos, there will be more of this to continue to engage more people and help this fan base start to grow, which is really exciting. Have a beautiful holiday. They're coming up, Christmas, New Year's, etc., all right around the corner. And I'll talk to you soon.